Former President Donald Trump is quite an interesting person. He's definitely a controversial figure that tends to speak in a way that leaves people guessing, which makes it challenging for ordinary people to understand his true thoughts. But hey, let's take a peek inside his mind. As he chatted with CNN Kathleen Collins about the whole Ukraine war thing. Disclaimer. This video represents my personal opinion and perspective on the matter at hand. It's not intended to be taken as a factual information or as a professional analysis. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research and come to their own conclusions. I don't take responsibility for any action taken based on the information presented in this video.
I want to get to another voter. Caitlin Boissonneau is a student here at St. Anselm College. She's a Republican. This will be the first election that she has voted in. What's your question for the president, Caitlin?
Hello, President Trump.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
The current administration has made it clear that we should continue to provide military equipment to Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. Do you support this decision, and how would you deal with the increasing threat posed by Vladimir Putin?
First of all, thank you very much. It's really nice. And it's an important question, so important, because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much.
This is one of Trump's tactics, exaggerating facts, making facts seem more extreme than they actually are. It's interesting how people often have a tendency to believe what they hear from authoritative figures, even when it's clearly false. Let me give you an example. If an average American were to tell you that America has run out of ammunition and gave it all away, you would probably find it amusing, right? But when a former president says the same thing, many people simply accept it as a fact. Why did Trump employ this technique in this situation? He used it to mislead people into thinking that the situation under George Biden's leadership is extremely dire. Later, of course, he would likely talk about how great things would be if he were in charge.
But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off, no longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. And even the Democrats admit that. Putin knew it would have never happened. And his pipeline would have never happened. A lot of things would have never happened. But this would never have happened. And all those dead people, both Russian and Ukrainian, they wouldn't be dead today. And all those cities that are blown up and disintegrated right to the ground, that wouldn't have happened. Okay.
Kathleen Collins asked a question that Trump avoided answering, which is a tactic he often employs, ignoring difficult questions. Did you notice what Trump just said? He was saying even the Democrats admit that if Trump were president, the war would never happen. Do you really think some Democrats actually said that? It's clearly a lie, but Trump can simply fabricate such statements in front of the public. Making unfounded claims is indeed Trump's specialty, which is why he became such a controversial figure. In reality, this strategy is quite effective in deceiving individuals who lack critical thinking skills. If you doubt whether people truly believed what he said, take another look at that girl who was standing there. She was nodding while Trump was lying. Do you believe that any of Trump's lies could be true? Even Putin's arrogant personality and the weak military capabilities of Ukraine at that time, along with the pro-Russian sentiment among Ukrainians, it's highly unlikely that Putin would easily comply with Trump's demand. In fact, Trump relied heavily on wasteful thinking, leading people to believe that he surely had a solution or could at least achieve some of his goals. This tactic is greatly favored and frequently employed by many dictators to fool the people. It's similar to certain products intentionally inflating their prices to raise people's expectations and then offer them a lower discount, which still results in an overpriced purchase. What a great business strategy! People are simply buying into it.
Now, here's the problem. We've given so far $171 billion. They've given, meaning European Union, which is approximately the same size altogether as our economy. They've given about 20. So we're at 170, let's say, and they're at 20. You don't have to know too much about history to realize, or geography, to realize that they're a little bit more affected than we are, okay? So they've got to put up a lot more money because they're taking advantage of us like every other country did. That's why I ended NAFTA and replaced it with the USMCA, Mexico.
Most of the time, Trump was preoccupied with how much money Europe gave and how much money United States gave. This reflects Trump's true business mindset, where interests take precedence, sometimes even above justice. Trump doesn't possess a strong sense of justice. He's more focused on gains and losses of interests. Trump's campaign slogan was "Keep America Great," but every statement he made actually prioritized American interests rather than American democracy and freedom. He acted in this manner throughout the time in office. I believe that his slogan in his mind was "Keep America Rich." The United States, being a pioneer of democracy and freedom, had always been the leader of many democratic countries. Its position is determined by its ideals, and for this reason, it often makes necessary sacrifices. If interests were the basis, many oil-rich nations could also claim to be the beacons of light.
This issue, Mr. President, I should know, I don't know any Democrats who have said they don't believe Putin would have invaded if you were president.
She directly exposed Trump's lies and demonstrated excellent hosting skills. This is also why people in democratic countries are not easily deceived like those in authoritarian countries. It's because people have the right to openly point out the lies of influential figures.
But her question is, would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky because, as you know, he backed me up with the phony impeachment hoax #1 when he said the president didn't do anything wrong. So
that was
I happened
when you
to
asked
like.
him for an
So I
investigation
happened to like. Yeah, that's right.
weapons.
And I was totally exonerated, by the way. Just a waste of time and money.
You were impeached over that. You
I
were
was
impeached over
impeached.
that. But let's stay on topic here, Mr. President, because the question is, would you give Ukraine weapons
I was
and
impeached
funding?
by a crazy woman named Nancy Pelosi.
But the question
who
here is,
sympathized.
would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were?
It's clear that Trump always avoiding answering other people's questions, while expressing his own views in an authoritative tone, sometimes even talking to himself. If Trump had the power of a dictator, it's imaginable that he would never allow any dissenting voices to exist.
I would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over.
Earlier, I mentioned that Trump's statement about the war not occurring if he was a president was merely a deceptive tactic. But do you think it's just boasting when Trump says he can end the war within 24 hours? In fact, considering Trump's personality, he actually might be able to do it. In terms of interests, his plan would probably involve convincing Putin to withdraw from certain areas, while allow Ukraine to seize some territory to Russia. On one hand, Russia, being driven by self-interest, would benefit and have a way out of war quagmire, so they would likely agree. On the other hand, Ukraine would definitely be reluctant, but Trump would exploit Ukraine's vulnerability by threatening to cancel military aid. There is a high chance that Ukraine would agree to cease fire. Being all about self-interest, Trump would consider it very advantageous for the United States to stop providing military assistance to Ukraine. You can see this from some of the things he did during his tenure. In other words, Trump approaches America as a private enterprise. However, what many people fail to consider is that the United States would lose the trust of many countries, and its leadership position would come to an end under Trump's manipulative tactics. To be more precise, given Trump's greed for power and fame, if he ever had an opportunity to become a dictator through a coup, he would certainly not let go of that chance.
It'll be absolutely
Do you
over.
want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
What do you? Can I just follow up on that? You
But
said
one
you
of the
don't
things
think in
you have
terms
to
of
do is
winning
you
and
have to get
losing.
you have
Mr.
to get
President, can I
Europe.
just follow up on that because that's a really important
excuse me,
statement
let me
that
just
you just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying, Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win.
You
said
know what
when
I'll
you were
say?
in-
I'll
when you
say
were in
this.
office-
I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and
that's
they
not
should
an
be.
answer about who
And they
should
should
win the war.
equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
But I'm
when I
asking you
sat down,
about
I got
Ukraine
them
right
to
now,
put up
Mr.
hundreds
President.
of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I
let's
want
talk about
Europe
what's happening in
excuse
Ukraine,
me,
Mr.
I want
President.
Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
When it comes to what's happening there, when you were in office, you said that you respected President Putin. Do
Yeah, I
you
do.
still respect him today?
He made a Tremendous mistake. He's a smart guy, you know. I remember I said he was smart, she was smart. They
What
said
was his
he
mistake?
said President Xi of China, right, is smart. Okay, 1.5 billion people. He's the ruler of 1.5 billion people. I said, yeah, he's a smart guy. How dare he say he's smart? Of course he's smart. They want you to say he's a stupid person. Okay, he's not a stupid person. He's very smart. He's very cunning.
Most dictators want their citizens to have unconditional patriotism. And their concept of patriotism means prioritizing the interests of the nation above justice. As the leader of their country, they believe that everything they do represents the nation, so patriotism should support them. This is the trick employed by all dictators. Russia is a great example. Prior to the war, Putin told the majority of the population that invading Ukraine was for the sake of Russia's national security and its interests. In reality, this claim was widely accepted by most of the Russian people. And once the war started, his approval rating increased. There were even many patriotic young people who voluntarily joined military. Many ordinary people are not aware of the differences involved, and putting national interest first seemed pretty reasonable. This had provided numerous dictators with a solid foundation for their rule. Donald Trump often praised the intelligence of many dictators. It's simply a matter of disregarding justice. If one doesn't care about the ethics, how many scammers are not intelligent, and how many foolish individuals can become dictators?
And Putin made a bad mistake, in my opinion.
What was his
His
mistake?
mistake was going in. He would have never gone in if I was president. We used to talk about it there.
Do you believe that he is a war criminal?
What?
Do you believe that Putin is a war criminal? He's responsible for the deaths of thousands
Well,
of
I think
Ukrainian
this.
men
I
and
think
women
it's
and
something that
children.
should not be discussed now. It should be discussed later. Because right now we have to get a war. If you say he's a war criminal, it's going to be a lot tougher to make a deal to get this thing stopped. Because if he's going to be a war criminal where people are going to go and grab him and execute him, he's going to fight a lot harder than he's fighting, under the other circumstance. That's something to be discussed at a later date.
But isn't it
right now,
important
we
to
want
call
to
it
get
what
that
it
war
is?
settled.
Former President Donald Trump tactics are very effective in deceiving individuals who lack of critical thinking skills. By disregarding ethics and prioritizing the interests, Trump could have followed the footsteps of many dictators. Thank you for watching, and please share your thoughts and comments below.